What's going on, everybody? It's your boy. I'm back. Just talking again to y'all. A little bit of a different background, as you can see. Visiting, a family member right now. So I'm just kind of in, their space of living, their apartment. But um, yeah, so, but I just had a random thought because it's been like a while since I posted a video. But um, I think uh, there's a lot of things online about making money, right? And there's a lot of people that BS on how to make money, right? So people are like, oh, you can make money fast doing this, or you can make money fast doing that, right? Like there's all these scams online, which is, gives a bad rep to all the people who actually, have good courses and good ways to make money. But I wanted to make a video talking about really the only three ways to make money from my perspective because, number one, just to kind of document this thought for my own, personal, journaling type thing. But also, like, I really feel very strongly about this because there's a lot of things that have been misconstrued, and I've been, trying to make money online for, probably about, like, to be honest, 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. And it's like a really tough journey, and I can't say that I've been fully committed the whole time. But, because, about, I would say, a third, or not like a third, but probably like half. I would say about half of that time I was in school. So I wasn't like giving 100% because I was also giving effort to school. Um, but yeah, I wanted to talk about the three ways that you can make money. So number one, we'll just start out with, the typical way to actually make good money is by going to school for 10 years and following the American dream mindset and, becoming a doctor or a lawyer or some advanced, high profile person for a company, right? That's that's the way that most people view it, right? Most people are like, okay, if you want to make a lot of money, you have to go to school for like 10, 8 to 10 years, and get a really advanced degree and then get a really good job, right? That's the way that most people think about it. And obviously, if you go and you become a doctor, you can make like, two, 300 grand, all the way up to like probably, you know, seven, 800, maybe even in the millions if you run your own, practice and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I would say like you're probably at least guaranteed to make like 20 or 30K a month, which I would consider rich if you go down that route of becoming a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. And it's definitely a very cut and dry way to get rich. Probably definitely the most cut and dry way to get rich after I describe the next ways, because all you literally go to school, you conform to what they tell you to do, you do what they do, you do the work, well, and then you pass, and then you do all these things. I mean, it's not that simple, but the most black and white way to describe it is you go to school, you do your work, you pass all the exams and the certifications, and then boom, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, or whatever. And then if you're a doctor, I know that you have to go through residency and stuff like that, and there's that part and everything. But scratch all that. That's just a part of the process, right? So yeah, that's the first obvious way that you can make a lot of money. If you're a school person, which let's be honest, 90% of the people watching this video probably aren't, then it works well for you, right? If you love school. But if you don't like school, like most of the people probably watching this, then it's not a great way to make money. Which brings me to number two. The number two best way to make money is sales, right? Because and bonus points for commission sales, because that's more like performance based. Because the thing about like going to school for 10 years and getting a really good job is you can make a really high wage, but unless you've built your own practice or whatever, which we'll get into that a little later. But you're not going to make that much. You're not going to like, or it's not, no, you're going to make a lot of money, but you're not going to be able to like go like very like past that threshold. So like you're going to be making 2 or 3 grand, 2 or 300 grand a year, but you're not going to be making much more than that, like throughout your entire career, right? Like you can work your way up a little bit, probably get a little bit more money as you go, but it's not like necessarily like scalable from like a business mind perspective. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of more like fixed, you know? So, and that's the thing about sales, especially commission only, is it's more about like your skill rather than your certifications. You know what I mean? So it's not fixed. So there's guys like for reference, I was in life insurance sales, so there was guys that were doing like tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month from sales. And the thing about the life insurance sales is that it wasn't necessarily like they weren't necessarily selling making the 2 or 300 grand a month, the guys that I knew, um, but they started there and then they were able to build like a life insurance agency and then kind of make money off the overrides and stuff, if you know about the life insurance industry, like that whole pyramid thing, which is that's why I don't really like it for reference, but it definitely was a very valid way to make money. Like if you like making money or if you like sales and you like people, then it's a great way to make money. Although I don't think that life insurance sales was the best version of sales. As I probably keep saying, but which I can make I'm probably gonna make a separate video um, talking about that, right? But yeah, so that sales is a very good way to make money. I don't know much about like the other versions of sales. I know like um, there's high ticket sales, and that's like like dudes do pretty well doing that. Like probably, and there's tons of other versions of sales. There's like B2B sales, right? Tech sales. Tech sales is kind of like a little bit like the first one where you want to get a better degree and stuff, but it's still like there's still a lot of tech sales jobs that you can make a lot of money if you get a lot of commission, right? So that's sales, right? That's another way to make money, sales. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about, and honestly, like my favorite, thing that I'm going to talk about is just building a business, a building your own, kind of thing, right? That's the best way to make money, in my opinion, because um, and that's like the third and final real way to make money, in my opinion. That's three of three right there. But I like it the most because building a business, you have full control over it, but that also means it's the hardest thing, because that's what I was saying at the beginning when I said that school is the most black and white. School is or going the school route. Sorry, I'm got a bunch of thoughts up here. Going the school route is the easiest way because it's very cut and dry, right? Where you go to school, you do the work, get the certifications, you go through residency, whatever. The steps are mapped out for you. Building a business and even sales, like I didn't touch on that on sales. Like building the skill is not necessarily linear, so it's harder than going to school. But at the same time, like most of the time when you're in sales, you have quotas, you have goals that you have to meet. You like they've built this system for you. You just have to learn how to win in that system, if that makes sense, for most sales jobs or sales positions or whatever, right? But for building a business, you have to do all of that on your own, right? So you have to do the sales part. If you're doing if you're selling a product, you have or like a product. I think you know what I mean. If you're selling a product that like if you're not doing drop shipping or whatever, but you're selling like a course or something, then you have to like sell yourself, right? Whatever. Um, but yeah, you have to do that part. You have to build the systems. You have to build that quota. You have to build everything yourself. But it's the most rewarding because there's the most freedom involved with it. Because obviously, when you're going to school and you get a job and you're a doctor, you're making a lot of money, but there's not really that much freedom. You get stuck with that 2 week vacation once a year, right? It's not a lot of freedom in that. You're in sales, right? Which can be there can be a lot more freedom, and there was a lot more freedom when I was doing life insurance sales. But at the same time, I was still confined in that system, and there was things that I didn't really like about it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, like there's freedom, but there's also still things that you're pretty much required to do. Like for me, I love just being at home, like by myself in my own like thinking space. I think like a lot of entrepreneurial type people and creative people are like that, but I like to be in my own space. I like to, um, kind of just be able to have a quiet space to just, think and create, right? So, and they would always be like, "Oh, well, you should come in the office," stuff like that, and they were right. Like coming into the office and being around the people that I was around and learning from them was good, but it was never like super compelling to me because I've always been more of a lone wolf. Like I like being on teams, but at the same time, like I like whenever I'm like in a creative like mindset and I'm just trying to like create and like innovate and stuff like that. I like to be by myself. You know what I mean? So it was hard. There was little nuances like that about sales that I didn't like, so I left. And also, I just wasn't a big salesperson. But yeah, building a business can be super rewarding, but it's also the hardest thing to do, right? So but I guess that's kind of just like a quick rundown, or quick. It's been 11 minutes, but yeah, that those are really the only ways to really make money. Like all those gambling things or whatever, you're not going to make money off that. All those, like even some of those courses or whatever, courses you can learn stuff from it, but it's never going to give you the complete picture. So you're better off learning it on your own, right? So yeah, like all those things, like those short-term money things that people say you can do, making a lot of money and stuff like that. Those are the ways to make money. You're not going to be able to make long-term sustainable money pretty much any other way except, and for 99% of people, pretty much any other way except for those three ways: going to school for 10 years and getting a crazy degree, sales, or building a business. Those are the three things. And one thing that I want to touch on before I'm done with this video is that the three things that those have in common that I think is the most important thing is that you have to love it, right? So I mentioned that with the school part is if you're going to be successful at school and you're going to get a super advanced degree, you can't just do it just to do it. You have to like it, right? You have to like school, you have to like the degree you're doing, you have to like the path that you're going down, right? You have to like it. Same with sales. If you're doing sales, you have to like it. You have to like talking to people, trying to sell people, getting to know people emotionally, like, kind of understanding people. You have to like that stuff. And when you're building a business, you can't just build a business because it's profitable. Like you can't just build a business because some guy on YouTube or Instagram most likely said that drop shipping was the best way to make money, so you should do it. Unless you really like drop shipping and you're really passionate about drop shipping and even sometimes the products that you're selling, it's not going to work for you. So, one thing that I would say that if you learned anything from this video, if you're going to pursue something, you have to love it, right? That's something that Steve Jobs said. Like he has a video where he's like, or a quote where he said something about how if if you're gonna get really good at something, you either have to be a complete psychopath or you have to be extremely obsessed with it, and that is extremely true. And you see this in like successful people like nowadays, right? Like most rich people or most successful people in general um, are either complete psychopaths, which you can tell that from their interviews and stuff, or they absolutely love it. So I'll give you a comparison, right? So even though this is probably not a great example, but it can be an example. You look at someone like Clavicular, right? And Clavicular is low key kind of a psychopath. I'm not gonna lie, right? To be completely honest with you, but you see someone like Clavicular and him not really give a crap about anything, and him just doing it, and he loves it too. Like that's the other thing though, is that he did really like what he was doing, so it made it easier. But at the same time, like you have to have the clavicular type mindset where you don't really care, right? You're just indifferent and you're kind of like psycho. You have like those like careless traits kind of traits that you can kind of see in him, right? Or you have to be someone like Elon Musk, right? Like when you watch Elon Musk's interviews, you can see how passionate he is about what he's doing, right? He's extremely passionate and he absolutely loves what he's doing, right? So that's where you have to be. You have to either be a psychopath, have carelessness tendencies, or you have to absolutely obsess and love what you're doing. And when I say obsessed, it doesn't mean like that's the only thing going for you, or it doesn't mean that that's like the only thing that you care about, but it's something that you love dearly, right? Because that's another important thing. Like, I don't want this video to go too long, but another important thing is that you have to make sure that you spread out, right? And you have a malleable identity, right? So it's like you can be obsessed with something, but you have to make sure that it's not the only thing that you have, right? The only thing that you are. So I could talk a lot more about that, but I'm probably going to make a video about that later anyway, so I won't waste my time yapping, or your time yapping about that today. I just wanted to make a video noting the 3 ways to actually make money and not BSing, right? So, and um, remember, you have to love it. Just because drop shipping or YouTube automation or day trading or whatever, they're all good ways to make money, by the way. All great. Yeah, and there's tons of testimonials and people who have made money doing this, but they loved it, right? They absolutely love doing that thing. So if you take anything from this video, you have to love what you're doing to be successful at it, to be truly successful and fulfilled doing it. Um, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all I got for today. It was a little bit of an interesting, different video for me, but I just wanted to kind of talk about this because I am passionate about it, and I've been like led astray in the past, and definitely have more I want to talk about in this realm. So, but I don't know, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. If you didn't, cool. I don't really care. I'm just here to talk about my feelings about things. So. Cool. Yeah. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.